Hi, it's Lisa Cuneo. Welcome to my scrapbook table. It is time for Scraplift Crafternoon, a hop hosted by Tara O'Rourke, who is the paper snob here on YouTube. And there are a group of 10 of us who choose someone to scraplift each Sunday. And this week it is Mel of Mel W. Scrapping. She has such talent and is so amazingly just so creative, so giving, so kind, and I just love that we are scraplifting her today. So here's the layout we are lifting. It's got some brick, looks like stenciling behind there, lots of splatters, some swirls, a few embellishment pieces. She has one photo. I am going to use two, and we'll see what happens with that. So here's what I'm using. I have these two photos. This is the Fireman's Memorial in New York City. So I have those two photos. Since there's a brick wall there, I pulled out these two brick stencils. I don't know which one I'll use. I'll have to mull that over. I'm thinking I might use a few things from this sticker sheet. Then from and most of this, all of this I think, is from my Counterfeit kit for the month of October. So I have this piece of paper, which I think is a Creative Memories paper. I have this one, which I'm pretty sure is Stampin' Up. I have this, which is, let's see, it says Coordinations, Sand It, Tear It, Emboss It, Love It. And I'm thinking I might, rather than doing the brick stenciling, I might take this sanding block and create kind of a rough background that way. I think that's what I'm going to do with that. I haven't decided yet what I can use for some embellishments. I need to go through my dies and see what I have that might work. If I do some stenciling, I will take this modeling paste and mix it with some brown ink. For splatter, I will probably use this Penny in Your Pocket from Shimmer's Paints. And so I'm going to go ahead, trim down my photos, make a few decisions, cut some layers, because Mel has, like, there's 3 mats behind the photo, and then she also has an offset piece, 3 different pieces offset and layered behind there. So I'm going to see what I can do with that. I'm not great at that, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'll be back.
I'm having a terrible time getting this voiceover done. I hope this one will work. So you can see I did decide to try a little bit of brick stenciling there, but it wasn't working. I wasn't happy with any of the options I tried. So I'm like, you know what, let's just use the gorgeous background that this paper is providing. And I used the sanding block from Stampin' Up! 15 years ago probably. And then I start to glue this down, and then I think, oh, wait a minute. I hear MK talking in my head. This needs distressed. So I pull out my distressing tool from Some Assemblage Required. And I do both this layer and the kind of mustard color one there. And then I also distress the layers that I'm going to put along the left-hand side of the layout. This paper is pretty thin, and I struggle more to get it distressed without actually ripping it too much, but it ended up okay. So that one's going to go there. Then I went back and forth for a while about what to put for the other layer on that side, and I thought about this gray. It's actually a road, but if it were layered behind the red piece, you wouldn't really be able to tell it was a road. So I cut it, or I started to cut it, and then I realized, no, I don't want to use that. I didn't want the blue either. I opted for this, I don't know, it just looks like old, cracked white wood, kind of. I think it was from Hobby Lobby a long time ago. Excuse me. I'm not really sure. But anyway, I like the rough feel of it. or the look of it, and that's what I went with. And then I started thinking I want to carry in some more black and white. These are Simple Stories rub-ons because Mel had a lot of black and white. That was her layout. And even though I have a few other colors, I wanted to play up the black. So I cut apart, these are like different alphas. I didn't care about the alpha part. I just wanted some black rub-ons to add a little bit of texture and to make this a little more distressed looking. So I put some here at the top right, and I do some below the firehouse picture or the fireman's picture that's on the left. And I don't have you watch all of that. And I'm sorry, I don't know what collection these were from. I know they're pretty old though. I had to kind of fuss with some of them to get them to work right, which is very unusual for Simple Stories. So I know these must be really old. They still work though. I didn't care about perfect coverage, so it didn't matter at all. So then you can see I pulled out some gears there. Those are from MK's shop as well, because I went through my stuff and I needed things that kind of fit the rough metal feel of the pictures. And so I have some brads that look like screw heads, so I painted the tops of those copper because all my metals were like a little bit different. So I just took some paint, and I think I put 2 coats on everything. I let it dry for about 20 minutes and then added some more. I hated to paint these gears because I loved the original color, but it just, I don't know, it just, when everything was together, it just didn't seem right. So I went ahead and I painted them. And a little bit of the original color is shining through, and I think the copper along with that is just right. So I also used an old Elizabeth Craft Designs die set. There I'm showing you that those were finished. I guess because this is about 4 days later that I'm doing this. I forgot that I had shown you that. And I cut out these tag tops. They're just going to look like full tags that I'm sticking underneath there. And I also cut out some little tiny stars because I felt like that fit. I'm adding these instead of like a whole reinforcer. These come in that same die set. So I'm just gluing them on. I cut them out of black. I did stars in black, in the mustard paper, and in the kind of burgundy print. So all of those get a top. Oh, and I did some stars in the lighter color that's on the far left as well. So I'm just putting holes back through here, and this is where I add the 3 brads that look like they're screws. And then I use some glue dots because I don't want these prongs to get turned, so I am gluing them down. I didn't put a hole the whole way through my paper, my background paper, and do it that way. The brads are only through the tag topper thing. So this was my way of making sure those wouldn't spin around and start showing after being in my album for a while. And this pokey tool, I think it's from Tim Holtz. I bought it from MK's store. Works really well for messing with those tiny enamel or glue dots. And now I'm thinking, what am I going to put where? And again, I used some enamel dots on these as well as liquid glue. And I don't have you watch all of that either. Some of this was pretty repetitive. This layout went together pretty quickly once I decided on the background. And then the only time-consuming part really was all the die cutting. because each of those tag toppers has a layer cut behind it, then the little stars and things. So that's all that took a while. We're coming up to the end here. There will be information in the description box. Please go visit Mel's channel as well as her Facebook page called Mel W Scrapping. And last, I'm adding some splatter. This is my splatter box, and the still shots are coming up in just a moment. Also in the description box will be the other people playing along with Scraplift Crafternoon. So I hope you'll join those people, look at their channels, and leave them some feedback. It's really nice for people to get a comment and a like, and I know they would really appreciate that. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm really glad you stopped by. I hope you like the page. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and I hope that you get to scrapbook something of your own very soon. Bye-bye.